Want to learn these 4 sick effects? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Cam. I'm a 19-year-old music video director. I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm not gonna make this some overcomplicated video. I'm gonna show you guys exactly how to do these 4 effects. No more chat, let's get straight into it now. Let's go. First thing you need to do is add a 3D camera tracker to the layer you are going to be using for the text edit. Let that initialize and finish off, and then we'll move on. Right, and if I play it through, you can see that I've got quite a few track points to work with here. So I'm gonna go for like the most consistent looking ones, which are like these ones over here. So I'm going to drag and highlight all of these, right click, and then press create text and camera. Now you can see, even though that the track has a few jitters and that, its majority of it is worked fine. So I'm pretty happy with that track. Let's move on to the next step now. So I want the text to roughly appear around here, right next to my guy Saint, who is the artist here. But the text is tracked to the wall back there. So the first thing we need to do is rotate it a little bit after clicking on it, just like this, and then using the blue arrow to bring the Z value forward. Then you can roughly gauge whereabouts, how close it looks, if that makes sense. And just by the camera movement, to me that looks like it's in front of the steps now. And if I play it through, I'm more than happy with how that's looking. Like I said, there's a few jitters in that, but if you're doing an actual proper track, you take more time than I did. So now I'm going to do our little text sequence. So I'm going to label this saying up, and then I'm also going to add a separate layer of text as well as this. I'm going to say whip it up. I don't want the top layer of text whip it to be the same as the up. I want the up to be like the same kind of font we've got here, which is another danger. So I'm going to set the top to Akira, just like this. Maybe make it slightly smaller as well. Bring it to a white instead as well. I'm also going to reposition it and slightly adjust the rotations. Also, one thing I'm going to do is highlight the up, which is on another danger, and make it bigger. Then I'm going to bring the text down just so it's roughly just underneath, just like that. If you wanted to, you could leave the text like that, but to me that's way too boring to even keep the same. So now it's time to add in some effects. First one being adding a drop shadow. I'm going to set my direction roughly to the same as the stand. I'm not too bothered about this, but then from there I'm going to up the distance to about that much, up the opacity as well, and then next thing, which is the most crucial one, is up the softness to a level you like. This just makes sure to give the text layer a bit of depth to it, you know what I mean? Better than having nothing on it. Then from here, which is something I use on nearly all of my text edits, is deep glow. As you can see, that's way too much, so I'm going to go into the radius and bring that all the way down to, let's say, something like 150-ish, yeah? Then I'm going to get the exposure and bring that down just so it's a light haze. Nothing too mad, but something like 0.13 works more than well enough for me. But you can see it's already missing something, right? When it moves, it's not got much finesse to it, or it's like it doesn't blend in with the rest of the background. You know what that is? It's the motion blur. So if you click on here and press the little motion blur tab, you can see it blends in with the background now, because the motion blur matches the same as the actual background itself. And you can see already when I play it, it just looks so much better. See what I mean? So much better already. Now it's time for the animation. You're going to go into the drop down menu of whip it up. Yep. Then you're going to click on this little button here, animate. Once you've clicked it, you need to go onto opacity. Then go into the drop down menu of the range selector. And from there, there's 2 things you need to do. Set the bottom opacity here to 0. And then keyframe the start on 0%. So essentially you've got start keyframe 0, then you got end 100, offset 0, and opacity at the bottom 0. And the only one you keyframe is start, just for this animation at least. Then I'm going to go slightly forward and just bring the start back up to 100. And you can see we have a nice fade in little animation. But now it's time for the outro kind of animation. So I want to do a nice slide out transition instead of using the same opacity transition again. So now I'm going to go to the end of the clip, then press P to open up the position keyframe, then keyframe it, then go a couple frames forward, maybe 3 or 4, and then bring it slightly down, just to about something like this. Okay? Then go a little bit more forward, maybe around that many frames, just so you've roughly got something looking like this, and then take it out of the frame. From there, you can now cut the clip and end it there, just to make sure it doesn't reappear again by accident. And then there's one more thing you need to do, is highlight all of them and then press F9 to easy use it. Now I'm going to adjust it slightly. Now you can see we have some sick 3D track text with some intro and outro animations in little to no time. It looks super clean, guys. On to the next effect. Alright, on to like the flicker, glowing hands kind of effect. I don't know how to explain it fully, but you've seen the preview, so let's get straight into how to do it now. First thing you need to do is duplicate your layer with Control D. Go into your Rotobrush tool and mask out the layer that you want to have the flicker effect over. In my case, I want it to be the hands and the wrists, so I'm just going to do this really quickly and speed run through it, and I'll see you lot once I'm done. Alright, so looking through that, I'm perfectly happy with that. It's not perfect, but it's similar enough, which is what we need. So I'm just going to quickly press freeze once we're done, and let's move on to the next step. So first thing I've done is I've added a bit of feather. Something around the lines of 20 works well for me. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in Deep Glow. If you do not have the Deep Glow plugin and you can't find it online, then all the other thing I can recommend would be the original After Effects Glow, which is just called Glow, that comes with it. It's not as good as Deep Glow, but it does work. So either way is fine if you don't have Deep Glow. I'm going to do a similar thing to the last tutorial, where I'm going to bring it down to something like maybe 150, and then bring the exposure to maybe 0.2ish, I'll say. Then from here, I'm going to add in a sapphire flicker effect. If you don't have sapphire, don't worry, I'll show you how to do the flicker effect without that in 1 second. So for the sapphire, which is the easy way, I'm going to put the amplitude to, let's say, 0.35, and then just looking through that, there you go, that's it done already. But if you don't have sapphire, here's how you can do that. Let's delete the sapphire for now. Then press T on your top Roto layer. Press Alt and left click on the stopwatch of opacity to open up the expression and type in wiggle. Then you can put in a value like, I don't know, maybe 10 and 100, okay? From here, you can see we now have a similar effect. If you want it to be a bit stronger, I'm going to put it to maybe 20, just like that. And even 40. Now you can see that near enough replicates the exact same way that Sapphire does, but Sapphire is just that bit more controllable, let's say. So if I delete that expression and then add Sapphire back on with the flicker effect, and simply bring the amplitude up a little bit, and you can see it has that effect already. Alright, but here are my final settings though. If you want to copy them, they are right there on the left for you to have a look at. Yo, that's number 2 done. On to number 3 now. Let's go. Hey, I gotta stop midway through, man. More than 80% of you guys aren't subscribed to the channel. I put a lot of effort into showing you guys the secret sauce, man. So I'd appreciate if you like, comment, and subscribe. I know, I took you out midway through the video. I'll stop e-begging now. Let's get straight back into it. Let's go. Alright, now I'm going to be showing you number 3, which is the easy and like more realistic lights flickering in a room tutorial. First thing you need to do is duplicate your layer same way as before. As you can see, I've already rotoed my subject out. You man, just do the same, and let's circle back after you're done. Right, so I'm going to set the feather to something like 15. That works for me. Now there's a couple effects we need to add to the bottom layer. Number 1 being levels, okay? Here's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to left click on this little meter here and drag in slightly, just something like this. From there, I'm going to go into the gamma and then drop the gamma down to something like this. Maybe something like 0.83 works for me. Then I'm going to add in a sapphire glow, just like this. Then I'm going to lower the threshold just so it roughly covers the lights without... You see, if I bring it too low, it covers everyone, and we don't want that. We only want like the lights in it. So I'm going to keep adjusting it till I just get the lights by themselves. It seems 0.48 is working for me. From here, I'm going to up the brightness a little bit and then add the color to a nice cool purple. Now already that is pretty cool in itself, and it looks pretty realistic as well. It doesn't really look like you've done too much to it, but obviously if you have it playing for a long clip like this, you can start to see it's not looking like as polished as it could be. So that's why we add in the flicker effect. Let me show you how to do it. So you can duplicate the bottom clip, which has no roto on it, and delete all the effects, just so you got a normal one, yeah? Then we're going to use that same opacity flicker effect. So go onto your middle layer, which is the non-roto layer with all the effects. Press T, then Alt left click on the opacity to open up the expressions tab, and then type in wiggle. This time I'm going to go for a 40, 100, and you can see I've lowered the gamma again to 0.69, and I went with a opacity expression of wiggle 5, 300. Now here's what the 5 and the 300 mean. The 5 is basically how often the flicker happens. I wanted it to be a occasional, nothing too fast. And then 300 is how strong the flicker is. And it looks pretty realistic with the roto brush and the feather as well. So I'm pretty happy with that. On to number 4 now, yeah? Let's get it. Right. A lot of people have been asking me for this little combo, so let's get straight into it now. I've got 2 clips, which is my main one here, which is my guy Sane lighting up a cigarette. You heard me, a cigarette, yeah? This is what we got here. our main clip and our base clip. Then I've got number 2, which is him holding up his watch, yeah? Pretty sick shot if you ask me. So here's 2 things I'm going to do. I'm going to bring it all the way to the start of the clip and then separate every 2 clips and press Ctrl-Shift-D until I basically cut up the entire clip. Then from here, the key is randomness, okay? There is a couple shortcuts that can make this really even looking, but the key thing is here, I don't want it to be even. That's the whole point of this effect. So I'm gonna just mess them around and rearrange them. You see, and not even in the original order as well. So I'm literally messing them all about and giving them a nice little concentrated flicker effect in itself. And then I'm also going to duplicate a couple of them just to add in, you know, that extra weird looking flicker effect. Listen, I didn't learn from no one. I use YouTube University, same way you guys are learning from me. This is an unorthodox technique, so don't hate on me, it works. You see, like, the chaos and the unorganized clips gives it its own unique look that I'm pretty happy with. So onto the night vision overlay. Alright, you lot, first thing we need to do is press Ctrl-Alt-Y to open a new adjustment layer. From here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a couple things. I'm going to add in a curves. I'm also going to add in a Venetian blinds. I'm also going to add in a tritone and then also an S_glow. Sapphire glow. If you don't have this, like I said, just use the normal glow that comes with After Effects instead. Right, let's start with the curves. You need to make 2 points, one in the middle and then one on this little square here, and bring it up. Okay, leave the other one where it is and then just bring up this one here. It basically adds this nice little contrast to it, which I like a lot. Even like that, it looks pretty cool in itself, but obviously we're doing night vision, we have to do night vision. So I'm going to bring that to a nice hot green, no D, and then I'm going to bring it not all the way to the end like that, because that just looks too weird, innit? We need it to be a nice, like, realistic night vision. So I'm going to bring it roughly in the middle around here. Okay, these are my color coordinates if you want to copy the exact same number as me. Press OK, leave that in, and then your S glow should be doing its thing, as you can see. From here, we're going to change the color to a nice green over here, just like that. Then you can change the threshold to whatever you feel is best, innit? I'm going to up the brightness to maybe 5.6 and then also up the threshold to maybe a 0.64. That works for me. Honestly, I'm really liking how this is looking, but we need to add in a couple more things. First thing also, which I forgot to mention, is adding in a noise. Maybe bringing the amount of noise to something like 8%. I'm happy with that. 8% works for me. So now onto the final step of the night vision, which is the Venetian blinds. Set the direction to 90 degrees and then put the transition completion to something like, I don't know, 19%. Put the width down as well, nothing too mad, maybe 14ish looks fine to me. And then add a nice bit of feather. And here are all my values if you want to copy exactly what I've done. Also, for the sake of it, I'm going to add in a sapphire flicker. If you don't, I've already taught you how to do the opacity thing. That's completely separate. So I'm going to add in a nice little flicker effect, leave it at, let's say, 0.24, nothing too mad. That works for me. But then there's one more thing we need to do now. Pre-comp the entire glitch effect we put together, and then you're going to add in one thing, which is RSMB Pro. If you don't have RSMB Pro, I highly recommend getting it. And if you don't have it, then I guess the alternative could be a CC Force Motion Blur instead. So now I've added RSMB Pro to the pre-composition, and as you can see, I've set it to 0.6, and that's pretty much done. Let's look at the final results now. That's all 4 done. Let's go. Yo, that's another video done. Saint 12 game over. The official music video is finally out. Link at the top of the description if you want to check it out. Those were the clips I used today. I hope you lot enjoyed it. More importantly, I hope you learned something. I'll catch you guys next week. Love.